Welcome back, everyone, to Kenna's Corner. We've got two special guests with us. We have Katie, who has been on the podcast before, but now you get to see her face if you're watching on YouTube. You want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Katie.
So she was on the episode that actually has the most listens out of all of my episodes. So congrats, Katie. But she was on
Or
the Dating Insights from the Girls episode. And then we have Jayden here. Do you want to say hi, Jayden?
Hello.
I met Jayden like last month. We did FSY together, which is like a church summer camp we were counselors at. We were in the hot Tucson, Arizona, and it was super fun, but also very hot.
Yes, it was.
So we have an interesting topic that we're going to talk about that I actually got the idea from Jayden. We were going around the counselors and we were just asking get to know you questions. And my question, of course, because I've got to get content for the podcast, my question was, what's the hardest part about dating, right? Something like that. And Jayden's response was the first date burnout. It's like you go on a lot of first dates and then just get kind of burnt out because they're not really going anywhere. So that's what we're going to talk about, but it's more of a how-to. Not that I'm really an expert on this, but how to avoid first date burnout and getting to the root of why there's never a second date. It's a long title, but that's what I have so far. So we've got a guy's and a girl's perspective, which I think is always better. So let's just jump right in. So I was thinking about from the guy's perspective, assuming they're the ones asking on the dates, which girls can do that too. But for Jayden, you're probably the one asking on dates, asking people on dates, and they're not really going anywhere. Is that accurate? Like, explain your first date burnout, I guess.
Explain my first date burnout. Well, okay. Yeah. So I'll ask a girl on a date. She'll say yes because she's not mean and I'm not too scary. And we'll go on a date. I think we'll have a good time. So I'm like, she's fun. There's nothing that scares me about her, so I'll take her on another date.
No red flags.
Yeah, no red flags, right? So then I'll usually ask him out again, and then it's either, I don't know. Most recently, I feel like it's been like, oh, like, yeah, that'd be fun. I just have a really busy schedule. And then
Classic.
that schedule never gets unbusy, and which is fine. But yeah. There you go. That's end of story.
Katie, I want to hear your perspective. That response from girls, do you feel like that's real?
honestly, yeah, it's a classic and it's brutal at the same time.
Yeah.
But I don't know, my perspective on like me having been that girl before, or
Yeah, I mean, I've been that girl before.
I've not been that girl
I guess
before.
for me, I'm trying to be better at just being straight up, because if I was feeling it, even if I was busy, I would make time for dating, right? So I think it's better probably just to say, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really interested, so that you're not just like waiting around for this girl to be available for another date.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, like, I've used that excuse before, but I have recently done more of the straight up, like, I'm not interested, or I just don't think it's going to work out for this and this reason, things like that. Just because my point of view is I want to respect the guy and not waste his time. And I don't know if guys hate hearing that. I don't know, but that's my point of view and my perspective. But sometimes I've been thinking recently, like, is it like bad to judge it off of just one date, like the first date? Because I guess recently too, I've been more open to having a bare minimum of two because I know the first date can be weird and awkward and all that stuff, but giving it a second, and especially if you do something different, like if you were just the two of you the first time, do a group thing the second, vice versa, just to get a different feel. I think that gives more. I don't know if that answered your question or if I just rambled, but there you go.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I think any insights, there's really no right way to answer my questions. Okay, so I was thinking, so now that we've heard Jayden's perspective, and then in a second, I'd love to hear yours too, Katie, on the first date burnout, if you've kind of experienced that at all. But for the guy, if they're the ones asking girls on dates, then I thought of a few different reasons maybe why it's not going anywhere. So this isn't pointed at you at all, Jayden. This is in general.
Sure.
This is in general. One thing I thought of is, who are you asking on dates? So a topic that a few people have asked me about to like have on the podcast is like dating in your league. What is your opinion, both of you, on league? Like, is that shallow? Is that accurate?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. Short answer is yes. I think it's both shallow, but I also think it's accurate. I feel like, at least, yeah. I don't even know. Okay. Okay. One more time. What was the question?
Okay, so hold on. What was my question? So who are you asking on dates?
Okay.
Are you asking girls on dates? And this isn't tailored towards you again, in general. Are the guys asking girls out that are in their league? Like, is that shallow, or is that something that they should do? Yeah. And what does that mean?
I think that it is very shallow to consider people in a league, but at the same time, I think we all do it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know. I think when you're saying someone's out of your league, like, it can kind of mean that maybe you don't view yourself very highly.
Yeah.
I think it also reflect on that. But I mean, you don't really know a person. Like, I don't know. I'm great at judging people from a distance, for better or for worse. And so, like, I remember recently at FSY, this is not, I haven't taken this person on a date, or no desire to really, just friend wise.
Yeah.
I saw this girl from a distance. I'm like, she is way too cool for me. I'm not even going to make an effort to try to get to know her. And then through mutual friends, we became really good friends. I'm like, this girl is super awesome, right? And so, like, to kind of apply that to dating, like, I guess, I don't know. Am I asking people out of my league on dates? Maybe. I mean, but the thing is, like, everyone views their league differently.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll acknowledge I'm not the greatest looking guy, but I have a good time. And, like, that's like, and so, like, if you're judging purely on appearance, then, like, yeah, I'd say that I occasionally ask people out of my league out on dates. But also at the same time, I think the concept of leagues is stupid, but I also think about it a fair amount. So that's there is a poor answer for you.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree. I was kind of studying the psychology behind it in preparation for this. Because have you ever noticed, like, when you see couples, sometimes married couples or people who've been dating a while, they kind of look the same. Is that just me? Like, they look like siblings sometimes. Like, whoa. But there's something psychological behind that. I think that, I don't know, according to studies and statistics, people who, I guess, This is so, I kind of feel shallow saying it, but people who like match attractive wise are more likely to have a longer relationship than those that aren't on the same level of attractiveness. But I agree with what you said, Jayden, how you can't just like from the girl, if she's kind of the one making the decision on yes or no to the date, if she's only judging on looks, then she might miss a really good opportunity. She might meet someone that treats her really well and that she's actually really happy with. And to me, I actually think that people become more attractive the more you spend time with them and get to know their personality, then they become more attractive. And then for the guy, yeah, he might be selling himself short, saying like, oh, she's way out of my league, and then miss an opportunity to meet someone that actually would be really good for him. So those are my thoughts. Anything to add, Katie?
Yeah, so I have a few thoughts on this. Agreed, we all do it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, why do we do that? Because so it was funny that you brought this question up, because the other day I did the not gonna lie link thing on Instagram, and someone had said like, oh my gosh, like I've thought that you're so beautiful and I've always wanted to date you, but dang, you're out of my league. And I was like,
Who's this? Yeah.
Like what? And I was like, well, have you tried? Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. What do you consider? Like, I don't think of myself as like a high league person or anything like that. Like, and I try not to think of leagues because I really think it's just all in our head.
Yeah.
But it just happens. And it made me mad. I was like, that's dumb. That's so dumb. But then at the same time, so yesterday I was watching Jumanji.
Yeah.
And you know how like the characters, they have these like stereotypes, they live this certain life, and then they're all thrown into different bodies, and suddenly they're like, oh my gosh, wait. Like they become buddy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some fall in love. This like high class, like, you know, I don't know, prissy girl, I guess, I don't know how to describe her, falls for this heavy metal guy, you know, like it's like when you take away the physical, I think suddenly there aren't leaks. Which
but physical is a big part of it.
I know.
So,
I know.
In theory, I think we all agree that leaks are stupid, but like it's hard to
avoid it
in practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No,
I think biologically that's just how our brains work sometimes.
Yeah. That's true. It's frustrating.
It is. Yeah, for sure. So I guess in response to getting to the root of why there's never a second date, do you feel like leagues have a part of this? Yeah. Unfortunately, it does feel shallow, but it might be. But I think at the same time, we should be a little bit more open in general for ourselves and for other people. But yeah, it's an important part. So we don't have to be like, oh, I'm not really attracted to them, but we could try to make it work, you know, because I don't know. I think you need to be attracted to the person that you date.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump to one for the girls. So that was kind of tailored more towards the guys. So another reason why there may not be a desire for a second date for the girl is there someone in your blank space? So if anyone listened to my last episode with Bridger, he talked about his theory of the blank space. So just briefly to share what it is, in case you didn't listen to the last episode, girls and guys like each other in different ways. Guys typically have a list of girls that they like, and the girls can move up and down the list depending on if they show more attention or as they get to know them more. And then girls, they have a blank space because they can go a period of time of not liking anyone. So that's blank. But then once they do start liking someone, it goes in their blank space. And it's usually just one person at a time. So it can be hard maybe to want to go on more dates with people if there's someone in your blank space. Like you've got someone else on your mind. Do you feel like that's accurate?
Yes.
Moving on.
But Also, just a plug, go listen to that episode because that episode is fire. But but yeah, I definitely think that plays a big role. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why do you think it can be hard to want to date other people when you have someone in your blank space?
You have that slight hope
Mm-hmm.
that it'll come back, that it'll work out, that I don't know, something will change. And again, as shallow as it sounds and maybe mean, we compare
Yeah.
people to the person in the blank space.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it doesn't really give the person that's taking you out actually giving you attention a true fighting chance.
Yeah, definitely. And I know a lot of girls that have someone in their blank space, so they like reject a guy, but then once they're ready and that person's out of the blank space, then it ends up really working out with that person. They reach back out and it works out. So girls need to give themselves time, I think. But some of the best advice I got, actually, it was on the guys episode, I think, the dating insights from guys. So the opposite of your last episode. The advice they gave was not to compare the new people you're dating to those you've dated before. Like, I think to an extent, it's good to maybe remember the good qualities about them that you want again. But sometimes they might be completely different personality-wise, interest-wise, past experiences. So I think I really liked that advice, and I've been working on that, like not comparing them and just being open to a new person.
Yeah, and I think along with that too, if you take the good qualities, but then are open-minded to like the new qualities, doors open to things that you're like, oh, snap. Yeah. I didn't realize I needed that, you know? Yeah. So yeah, it's good to not compare.
Not compare. Okay, back to the guys. Sorry, Jayden, if you were bored for a second. Okay. How are you meeting the people that you're asking on dates? Because I work at Walmart and sometimes random people will just like write their number on the receipt and I'm like, I don't know you at all. Like, I don't trust you yet because I don't know you. So I honestly would not be very open to a date with those people. But I don't know. I guess one thought I had is that you kind of need to make a connection with the person before you just jump to taking them out on a date. What are your thoughts on that, Jayden?
That's what I do. Yeah. Like everyone that I've gone on a date with in the last, I don't know, several years, basically, have just been, I guess, probably like ever, actually. Mm-hmm. I've been like people from my class. Yeah. Or people from my ward, or friends of friends that I met at parties and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I guess every once in a while I'll be set up on a date with someone that I don't know, but yeah.
I guess what benefit do you think there is for having met them in a natural setting first?
I mean, I'm a lot more comfortable with them. I already know them a little bit, so it makes it easier for me to. And I guess going back to what you were saying, like how you can be more attracted to someone as you get to know them better. I feel like I'm the same way. Yeah. And so, like, I don't know, like being friends with them before you even go on a date. It's kind of a dangerous move, maybe, but I don't know. It's easier for me, at least.
Yeah. Have you ever asked anyone on a date that you just randomly saw on campus, or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, wow. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
I don't know, you do go to BYU. No,
I do go to BYU.
Just kidding. Yeah, no, I think that's good that you'd ask girls on dates that you've been in a class with, or you have a mutual friend, so you saw them at a party, because I think it's a lot more natural that way. And like you said, you're more comfortable on those dates. And I think the guy and the girl will be more comfortable. Sometimes I think some of the best dates I've been on were when I felt totally myself. Like I felt like I could open up and be myself. But if you don't really have that connection before the date, then you're trying to make it on the date and it's just an awkward setting and I feel like I can't be myself and suddenly I don't know how to talk anymore.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Katie?
I don't know, not really. I thought that was good.
All right, let's jump to the girls. Okay, are you saying yes to everyone as far as, yeah, first date burnout?
For the most part. There generally, yes.
Mhm,
There are some exceptions though
mhm,
that I allow myself if they give me weird vibes.
uh-huh.
If it's just like, nope, that's pretty much it. If they
Yeah.
give me weird vibes, like creepy, like
You're
I'm
like,
like, nah.
yeah. Do you think it's good though to like say yes to every date besides the weird vibes one?
Yeah, because yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised
Mhm.
and on first dates with guys that I'm like, oh, okay, you
Yeah.
know, but yeah, so I think so.
Yeah. I do think it's good to say yes to at least a first date because like you said, you've been surprised or you realize you have more in common with them than you thought.
Mhm.
So I think it is good.
And even if you aren't pleasantly surprised, like, you know, you're keeping it open.
Yeah.
So
Keeping it open and at least gaining communication skills.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe I've even
Some
told
free food.
friends. Yeah. Free food.
Right? I wasn't gonna say anything, but
But no.
We all know it. Guys and girls both know it.
What was I gonna say? That's hilarious, first of all. I don't recommend only saying yes for the food, but but it is a perk for sure. Man, what was I gonna say? It was so good. That's
Sorry.
all right. Wise words from Jayden. Okay, so yeah, saying yes to everyone gives you communication skills. Oh, I've told other friends that it's also like dating is also networking because maybe it doesn't work out for the two of you, but the guy could be like, yeah, I'm not feeling it, but let's be friends. And then you keep hanging out, you meet some of their friends, and you just like meet more people. So it's like a great way to gain more friendships and then maybe people to date too. I don't know.
I've heard so many stories recently of people who go out and then end up meeting and dating their best friend.
Yeah, their best friend. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Actually, my older brother, he met his wife now, but they kind of lost contact. She was just really busy, classic, right? Really busy, and she actually was. And so she wasn't the best texter. And then he met her roommate separately, and they had like a little study date. And then my brother's now wife walked in the apartment. He's like, "Oh, we've met before." So it ended up working out for those two, but the poor roommate, I think hopefully she's okay. But yeah, I have friends honestly that are like super, super picky and will say no to like everyone if they're not exactly what they're looking for. And I mean, that's up to them, but I wouldn't recommend it because I tell them, like, even if it doesn't work out with them, it is a way to network and you can gain more friendships. So,
Is it okay if I say something about that?
yes.
Um, if you are in the mindset of like this is what I want, and if on the first date like that's not what you want, then I say no. And, like if unless you're gonna change,
Hmm.
because then like that's just being more respectful to the guy, I think.
Wait, give an example. Like, this isn't what you want, like
Like
their
what you were saying, like
qualities, or like you're just not feeling it with them.
I guess when I was listening to you, I
Mhm.
was picturing this girl that's like, he's got to be over 6 foot.
Yeah.
He's got to have blonde hair, preferably from California. And so if someone comes by that doesn't fit that description, and they ask them on a date, and they're like, well, I'm only gonna marry this kind of a guy, and you're not that kind of a guy, so I'm gonna say no. Then I say, yeah, go ahead, say no, because unless you're willing to change that ideal man or whatever,
Mhm.
then it's just
It
going
won't
to be
work.
a waste of his time and his money and everything, all of the above. So,
I have a rebuttal.
Oh,
okay,
okay.
okay.
So my sister said that, like, gotta be taller than me, and she's like 5'7", like, you know, it's pretty fair to find.
Mhm.
And like all this stuff, and found this guy who's taller than her and fit all of the stuff. That didn't work out. And guess what? Dated his best friend,
Oh.
who is shorter than her, and they're married, have 2 kids, and the kid on the way. So
Okay, so, but before she had dated the best friend, do you think she would have said yes to the guy that she's not married to? I don't know. You probably don't know the answer to that question.
well, I mean, wait, are you saying that because they were best friends, she like got to know him better, so then she
Probably.
so they were all friends before.
Exactly. And who did she go for first?
Well, but who went for her first too?
Yeah.
Because her husband now was dating her best friend.
Okay.
So.
Well, I think kind of what Jayden was saying is the girl needs to have an open mind first, right? But if you don't have an open mind, then you might as well just say no. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I also just wanted to fight with Katie.
And I want to fight back. So
yeah, you both are very like you have your opinions. They're very strong. I love it. Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's true, Jayden. I think the girl has to have an open mind because otherwise she's never going to give him a chance. So I think for your sister, Katie, she at that point was open-minded whenever she went on the date with her now husband, maybe. Or he just
And
really impressed.
at that point, he was open-minded too.
Yeah.
They both became open-minded.
There we go.
Perfect.
The moment they went on that date, they knew.
Probably just went on the date and talked about their exes.
Okay, let's see. We've got like 8 minutes before this Zoom call ends. This went so fast. Okay, which one did we just do? Guys or girls? Oh, girls. Okay, so guys, how do the first dates go? That's another thing to think about. Is the conversation flowing? Are you asking the right questions? Are you getting too vulnerable, but a little bit vulnerable? What are your thoughts on how a first date should go?
If I can't hold a conversation with someone, I'm not gonna ask them on a second date.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, like that is something that, like, if I can like have a good conversation with someone, that's honestly probably what I'm looking for the most on the first date. Because like I don't hang out with girls one-on-one outside of like on a date, and so like that's my chance to actually get to know if I can talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, like when I go on a first date, really my only game plan is what's an activity that we can do that I can just get to know them and just talk.
Yeah.
That's usually my go-to for a first date.
Good.
And
thank you for doing that.
Women appreciate
bowling is so awkward because you can't talk to each other. Anyways.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I feel like when I do ask them out on a second date, it's usually because we had good conversation. And now there are some cases where I feel like I could have done better at driving the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that will play a factor, because the girl might go home, she's like, oh, I had to do all the talking.
Mm-hmm.
I had to ask all the questions or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, yeah. So there does have to be a good flow of conversation. I agree too. Yeah. If I feel like we can't talk, then I don't say yes to a second date.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could we continue a relationship if we can't even talk to each other?
Yeah.
But I've also been guilty of being so like if I am really, really tired, then my brain is foggy and I just can't even think of get to know you questions. I don't have good responses. So I shouldn't say I'm free to go on a date if I'm not in the mental state to go on one. I should just wait
Yeah.
till I've slept. I
Um,
think I've been on dates that could have gone way better if I had slept.
You just be like, let me take a nap first.
And then we can. Yeah.
I okay, this is kind of on topic. I think that I get funnier, like when I get more like slap happy when I'm tired.
Oh yeah.
And so
Same.
if I'm about to go on a date with a girl that like I'm really interested in,
Uh-huh.
sometimes I'll like stay up extra late the night before so that I'm tired. I don't know if that
That's
obviously
awesome. Hey,
doesn't work because
it
here
works.
I am
Oh, okay.
talking about trying
It
to get a
works for
second
you.
date. But I don't know. It's just
Been
something
thinking ahead.
dumb that I do. But I think also kind of talking about like pulling from Preach My Gospel.
Oh.
Yeah, it talks about how like in the asking questions part, like
Mhm.
I think it's Elder Holland's like you'll be able to like come up with questions as you listen to them sincerely.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes I'll like find myself on a date like, oh, I got what's the next question? What should I ask?
Yeah.
What should I ask one? Like, but instead of like actually listening to them. And so
Yeah, because I think that's when you can find commonalities, is when you're really genuinely listening. And you're like, oh, I have an experience like that too. Let me tell you this story. And then you're just going back and forth, and it's really fun. Yeah, I agree.
But then at some points you're like, I don't want to just talk about me this entire time. So
Yeah.
now I'm like, I want to ask them questions. But then you're like, wait, am I just interrogating this poor girl this entire time?
I hate that balancing game. I
It's like,
hate
I
it
don't
so
know.
much.
I don't know.
But I think when you find the right person, I always say this, and not that I have yet, but they say when you find the right person, it just works. I don't know. You find the balance. So I think you just got to keep going on dates and try not to get burnt out by following kind of what we talked about. So thinking about who you're asking on dates, have you made a connection with them already? And how are the first dates going? Like, are you slap happy because it's going to go better? Have you taken a nap because you need it? And then from the girl's perspective, think about, do you have someone in your blank space? Do you need to give yourself time to get them out of there? And like, are you saying yes to everyone? Is that beneficial for you? Do you know what your deal breakers are? Can you tell if someone is creepy? Things like that. I think they're all super important. I guess really quick from a girl's perspective, how do you think the first dates should go, Katie?
I think the same. Like, just be able to talk and laugh too, like have fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I think that's why I'm becoming more open to at least allowing a second date.
Mhm.
Because sometimes the first is just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think girls need to be more open-minded in general to help with the first date burnout. And then I don't know what to tell guys. I don't know, just keep it up.
Well, if you figure it out, let me know.
Yeah. But hopefully those kind of points we talked about will help a little bit. But it sounds like Jayden is following them. You're asking the right girls. You're making connections with them first. So it just comes down to finding the one that you connect with. Maybe ask some crazy girl that you would never think to ask on a date. I don't know. And then when you do, come back on the podcast because we want to hear about it.
Okay.
I think too, like, it's just finding the one that really just makes a difference.
Yeah.
That just like really wants to be with you.
Mhm.
And just makes all the difference.
Yes.
I think.
Yes. Don't be with someone that you have to chase. That's my motto right now. Neither person should have to chase. It should be together. You want to be around each other. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for being on the podcast.
You're so welcome.
Any
It was
last
fun.
words of advice on how to avoid first date burnout?
Go on a second date?
Yeah.
Just ask. Just ask.
Do it. Sweet. Well, thank you guys. I was really excited about this one. So thanks, Jayden, for the inspiration.
You're welcome.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to Kenna's Corner. Again, you can find me on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And hopefully we'll get some more guests on here. Maybe you guys will come back on. But we'll talk to you next week. Bye.